În acest videoclip, Matt vă va dezvălui cum și-a început propria agenție și cum a ajuns să o scaleze la $300.000 pe lună în mai puțin de 2 ani. Nu uitați să apeși butonul de like și subscribe și vizionare plăcută.
So, Matt, tell us more about yourself. You're not yet that mainstream on this space, so tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, dude, to be honest, I'm very new to content. So guys, I've been running an SMMA or an agency for 4.5 years. When I was in 9th grade, I dropped out of high school. I hated school. I felt very alone, very depressed. I felt very lost in school. Just a lot of very negative, unhealthy feelings. I remember when I was in 9th grade, I got my report card back, and I don't know what they call it where you guys are from, but it's like your score and how you're doing in school. And I was number 330 out of 410 students. And I felt like that. I felt like I was one of the worst kids in the school. I had no confidence. I had no self-esteem. I was very, very low in my life, to be honest with you guys. I always got in trouble. I always acted out. I got suspended from school. I did a lot of dumb, bad shit. And
You dropped out in the 9th grade?
I dropped out. I left school after 9th grade. Yep.
Damn.
I remember telling my mom, doesn't matter what you do, I'm not going back to that school. I'm not going to school. I just knew it wasn't for me, and I hated going. And so that's part of what made me work so hard to make this work. Is it was out of desperation. There was no other option. I was like, if I don't go to school, I either learn how to make money myself or I die. That's how I viewed it. It was life or death. And so when I left school, it was the hardest thing I ever had to do, but it pushed me to a new level and it gave me a new sense of motivation. And so after that, I started trying to learn how to build websites and a couple of other business ventures. I sold basketball shoes online on eBay. I just was an entrepreneur all the way through. And so I was trying to learn how to make money. And when I was 17 years old, I kind of became obsessed with make money online YouTube videos. And I started watching these videos of drop shippers and people doing Shopify. And I thought it was so cool, but I watched this one video 4.5 years ago that said Shopify is dead. It's too saturated. 4.5 years ago, they were saying that e-com was saturated. And so I was like, I guess I can't do Shopify. It's saturated because this random guy on YouTube said that. So I'm just putting that out there for anybody who says SMMA is dead or it's oversaturated. It's bullshit. It is not saturated. They've been saying that for years about all the best markets out there. They've been saying it about e-com. They've been saying it about ticket sales. It's not saturated. So I eventually came across a social media marketing video on YouTube, just a random video one day. I'm 17 years old. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I see this video on YouTube that says how I dropped out of college and made 6 figures running a marketing agency. It was by a guy named Billy Wilson. If anybody knows the name Billy Wilson, he's now one of my good friends. I watched this video. I get hit with one of his ads on YouTube and I'm like, all right, what's this all about? I go to his funnel. I watch his video on how to build a SMMA. I convinced my parents to help me buy the course. And I remember going to my mom, dude, and being like, hey, I want to buy this course. And she's like, Matt, go to college. She's like do this after you go to college, but why don't you just get a degree first? Why don't you go to university first? And I just told her I'm not doing that. And I remember my mom just bawling up with tears and crying right in front of me because she was so worried about the path that I was on. She was so scared. I don't know if anybody can relate to that when you tell your parents that you're going a completely different path than the one they want you to take. But I remember telling my mom that and her just crying. And when I saw that look on my mom's face, dude, I was like, I don't care what I have to do. I am not going to make my mom look like that ever again. Right. And I started hustling 70 hours a week, going through the entire course, working my ass off, grinding like crazy. 17 years old. I didn't party. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. I just worked. All I did was work. And I sacrificed everything that I needed to sacrifice. Friends, comfort, parties, whatever it was, social media. I sacrificed everything so I didn't have to see that look on my mom's face again. And a year later, I was making about $20K a month profit. I'd built a few different agencies. Some went up, some went down. I had a couple partnerships where we scaled to $10K a month, $20K a month, but then I got screwed in the partnership. And so I lost those agencies that I worked so hard to build. I just lost them because the partners kind of screwed me, to be honest.
How the idea of starting multiple agencies came to your mind, not just one?
Yeah, so good question. And I kind of tell this in depth on one of the videos I made on YouTube, but basically I started the first agency with a partner and I had him do all the sales. I did all the back end because I didn't like talking to people. I was very, very introverted at the time. I try not to speak that over myself now because I'm talking to 204 people. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm introverted, but I was definitely introverted at the time. So I had him do all the sales. I did all of the back end and we scaled that pretty well. He was a very good salesperson and I loved fulfillment. So we scaled to about 20K a month in like 6 months. But then ultimately, when the time came for him to make me a partner, because technically I was an employee, but he always said, I'm going to make you a partner. I'm going to make you a partner. When the time came for him to make me a partner, we really just didn't see eye to eye. And so the partnership didn't make sense. And so we didn't do it. And I not only lost that partnership, but he also said, hey, I'm letting you go and I don't need your services anymore. So I'd not only lost the partnership, but I lost my job, which I didn't even realize I had a job. I thought I was a partner. So when that happened, I started my own agency again. I have one tattoo, Rareș. I have one tattoo. It says logos in Greek. I know we have a lot of people from different countries here, but if anybody's Greek, then they'll understand logos. But it's actually a saying from Stoicism. And it's basically the idea of destiny and fate, and everything happens for a reason. And I'm a big believer that if you just choose to see life this way, everything does happen for a reason. And so I lost that agency. I was crushed because I thought it was my way out, and I was making decent money doing it, but I lost the agency and I had to start over from scratch. And I said, you know what? Maybe this happened for a reason. I was making about 5K a month at that agency. And then 45 days later, after losing that partnership, I started my own agency and I was making 20K a month profit. So it did happen for a reason. It was the best thing that could have happened to me because I had to go out and do sales myself. And although I hated sales, I hated talking to people, I actually was really, really good at it. And so I pushed myself out of my comfort zone and I started doing sales, and it really, really changed my life. And I was able to make way more profit. I was able to develop a new skill set, and I was able to be more successful in the next agency. Then COVID happened and I lost all my clients because I was in the gym niche. I built a couple of other agencies and they did all right. And then eventually, to finish off the story, I started a new agency with a partner, my friend Jared Curry. If anybody knows Jared, shout out to Jared. But I started a new agency with a partner, and we went from 0 to 300K per month in 1 year. I realized the same way that me losing my first agency happened for a reason, me losing my second agency happened for a reason, my third, my fourth, my fifth, it all happened for a reason. And it gave me the skills and the experiences I needed to go from 0 to 300K per month in 1 year. And so now we've basically automated that agency. We have a team of 20 people. We've served over 700 clients probably. We went from like 0 to 500 clients in 1 year. We basically automated it. I work about 4 hours a week, which I never thought was actually possible. And I get to make a lot of cool videos, hop on calls like this and talk with you guys and live a life that, I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't think was possible. I saw a lot of people make videos, travel the world, do cool shit, make money online, and it always seemed a little bit too good to be true. But through the last 4.5 years, I've been able to actually make that possible for myself. And hopefully I can visit some of you guys in Romania soon. So that's my story. That's everything that I've gone through in the last 4.5 years in kind of a nutshell, as we would say. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if I was kind of all over the place. I don't know if I did a good job of explaining that, but that's been the journey.
You did an awesome job, man. So it's spectacular. It's like the fact of you growing the agency, like in say short frame of time, like 1 year to such big results. It's like crazy. I want to talk more about this, but especially about the fact of like from 0 to 10K, 20K, like time, like 1 year to such big results. It's like crazy. What steps did you apply? Like what made you different than the others that failed, for example? I see people like, yo, 10K, it's unrealistic, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about this.
Yeah, so I think you bring up a really good point, dude, which is like the first thing you need to overcome to actually make that money is the belief that you actually can make that much money. Nobody becomes a millionaire by accident. Like nobody becomes a millionaire without thinking they are capable of becoming a millionaire. So you probably base the fact that you think making 10K a month is impossible off the fact that your parents think making 10K a month is impossible, your friends think making 10K a month is impossible, and everybody that you've ever been around has told you that making 10K a month is impossible. Like nobody told me I could make 10K a month as a 17-year-old online from my laptop. Nobody told me I could. Everybody said, that is a terrible idea. You should go to college. So if you let their beliefs define your beliefs, then their realities will define your reality. So you will end up like them if you think like them. The first step to achieving something is changing the way you think about it. It was the Buddha who said, all we are is the result of what we have thought.
But man, this mindset stuff, scam. We don't want to hear about
Don't worry. I'll get into the tactics.
No. This is something like, someone would tell you like, yo, Buddha, what the fuck? This game, it's 10K. Just no. I resonate a lot. Just so you know, I just
Yeah, I'll get into the tactics too, and I understand mindset's very woo-woo and nobody wants to talk about it, but like think about it, guys. What is life but a mindset? Like everything that happens in your life is only how you perceive it to happen in your mind. Everything that happens to you is just based off the decisions that you make. So the name of the game of business is, how do I make better decisions every single day? You have to change the way you think. That is the game. Mindset's woo-woo, that's fine, guys. I don't have a course. I don't have a program. I don't need to sit here and like lie to you guys. Mindset is important. I'm not just saying it for me. I'm saying it for you. Like the way you think about your life is the way that shapes what your reality actually is. So it all starts with the thoughts. So being in a group like this, where you can see people who are actually doing it, starts to change your beliefs. I've said to a lot of people, the most life-changing experience that I've had was going to Joel Kaplan's event. I know a lot of you guys probably know Joel. I think you've had him on, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Good guy. Love that guy. Going to his event and like getting in the room with people making $100K a month, $200K a month, when I was making $0 per month, changed my life. When I went there and I saw, wait, oh, you actually can do this? I didn't change my skills. I wasn't a different person, but my beliefs changed. And so I just realized, hey, I can actually fucking do this thing. And I went from 0K a month to 10 months later, we were doing 150K a month in our agency. So much of that was because I went to that event. So the first thing is changing the way you think about success, changing your beliefs, and understanding that the people around you and their limitations do not need to be your limitations unless you let them. Now, to get a bit more tactical, if that's cool, because I know we don't want all the mindset shit all day, the tactical way to go to 0 to 10K a month in 100 days is following the rule of 100. Hermosi talks about this a lot. Basically, it's doing 100 points of outreach every single day for 100 days straight. Very simple, but most people don't do it because most people get caught up in video games, social media, doing other things they shouldn't do. Most people get caught up and distracted, but 100 points of outreach every single day for 100 days straight. I'm talking cold emails, Facebook messages, cold calls, $100 in ad spend or whatever you can afford, right? Doing that consistently for 100 days straight. After 100 days, if you do, 100 times 100 is 10,000, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 10,000 points of outreach in 100 days. If you just get 10 clients paying you $1,000 per month, you're at 10K a month. So if you can send 10,000 points of outreach in 100 days, and all you need is 10 people to convert, 0.1% conversion rate gets you to 10K a month in 100 days. The reason that people aren't as far in their business as they want to be is because their inputs don't match their desired output. So you want to get to 10K a month, but you're making 10 cold calls a day. You're never going to get to 10K a month. I hate to say it. Volume negates luck. So the more volume you do, the less lucky you have to get. And like in the beginning, all I would do as a beginner, I would just focus on how can I do as much volume as possible? How can I send as many cold calls, as much emails, spend as much on paid ads as I possibly can? With the State AI guys, we started off, we were spending about $1,000 a month on paid ads. We were spending $1,000 a month and we were doing about 10K a month in revenue when we started and actually acquired the agency because we acquired it from somebody. 2 months later, we were spending $30,000 a month on paid ads. We 30x'd how much we were spending. And so we went from 10K a month in revenue to 150K a month in revenue because we went from spending $1,000 a month to $30,000 a month. So every dime you make in the beginning, just put it back in to making more dimes. Like just reinvest. A lot of people will get to 5K a month and then they're like, oh, I should buy a watch. I should get that Rolls Royce, I should go rent that nice car. Don't do that until you have like fuck you money. Until you have so much money that you can go buy those things and it doesn't matter, don't buy those things. Put it all back into making more money. So the rule of 100 points of outreach for 100 days straight, just do that simple thing alone and you'll be in a way different spot than you are currently. The problem is most people just won't do it. They'll just stop after like 20 days. They'll say, all right, this was too much. I haven't closed a client, and they'll give up. So the rule of 100, I think, is the most powerful thing to go from 0 to 10K.
So not like yelling at them. I'll be always so I tell them just to think like this way. You can't make money. You just can't take money, right? So money, it's in someone else's pocket, right? If you don't put yourself in someone else's pocket to ask them kindly and in the best way to take money out of their pocket, to put it in your pocket, and Of course, with the incentive of give us this money and we'll make more. If you don't put yourself in 10,000 pockets, in front of 10,000 pockets, you probably won't touch no money.
Exactly. It's just a volume game. Like the way you build the skill is through consistency. Most people like we want to get really good. We want to get really good at sales after like watching 5 YouTube videos on sales. I heard this quote once and it resonated with me. I don't know if you guys have guns in your country, but here in America, we got a lot of guns. So one of the quotes that I've heard that I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying, hey, we got a lot of guns. Just the case. One of the best quotes I've heard is the only way you learn how to shoot a gun is by shooting a gun a lot of times. You don't learn how to shoot a gun by watching a YouTube video on how to shoot a gun. You got to shoot a gun. So you guys, if you want to get really good at sales, you got to do a lot of sales, man. You got to just do as much volume as you possibly can and expect to suck at it in the beginning. That's the point. You're not going to be great at sales your first sales call. I remember the first sales call I made, I was shaking, I was sweating, I was like stuttering over my words. It was so bad, bro. It was so bad. You would have looked at me and said, that guy is never going to make any money in sales ever. There was like no way this guy was going to be a good salesperson one day. But I kept doing it and I became really good at it. So the only way you become really good at a skill is through consistency. So yeah, man, volume, like you said, dude, put your hand in as many people's pockets as you possibly can. I really, really like that. That's good.
Okay, but let's say people now know, yeah, I'll keep outreaching for 100 businesses every day. But most people, like hear this in their head, it makes sense, but they never do it. What are the reasons you saw people like not doing anything?
Why do people not do the thing they know they should do? Fear of failure is definitely part of that. Lack of discipline is definitely part of that. Laziness is definitely part of that. Mindset is definitely part of that. But you can overcome all of those things if you have a big enough reason to. Somebody said they don't have a big enough reason why. Personally, I would agree with that answer. I think it was Dennis who said that. I love that answer. They don't have a big enough reason why. And here's what I mean. Most people are capable of making 10K a month, 100K a month. I made a video on my YouTube channel a couple months ago before I really had that many subscribers. I still don't have that many, but you know, I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up to Rareș. I'll be there one day. But I made a video when I had like maybe 900 subscribers or something. It's called The Strange Way I Scaled from 10K to 150K a month in 90 days. And basically, the reason is we just woke up every day and we said, if we only had 12 months left on this planet to achieve our goal, or we died, what would we do today to achieve that goal? If you ask yourself this, write this down because I think writing things down is powerful. If you had 12 months left to live and you had to make 10K a month in the next year or your life was over, you never got to wake up again. I know it's dark, but success is dark. You never got to see your mom again. You never got to see your friends again. You never got to play your favorite sport or watch your favorite YouTuber, whatever. You never got to wake up again if you didn't make 10K a month in the next year. What would you do today that you aren't doing right now? You would wake up every day and all you would do is try to get to 10K a month. You would stop watching porn. You would stop watching TikTok. You would stop eating unhealthy food. You would stop going out to the club. You would stop doing all the bullshit every single day because you know your life depends on this. The reason that I made it work, I'm not the most skilled person. I'm not the most charismatic person. I'm not the smartest person. Like I said, I was 330 out of 410 at my school, but I wanted it the most. And I was willing to sacrifice everything in order to get there. I would give up everything to get to 10K a month because I viewed it as life or death. I was in such a dark place in my mind that I figured if I can't figure out how to make money online myself, I'm scared of what I will do because I don't see another way to go about this life. That's how dark it was for me. I hope it's not that dark for you guys. Not a good thing. I don't recommend that type of state of mind. But if you can figure out a way to put yourself in those shoes to where it literally becomes life or death, it becomes inevitable that you succeed. What is the other option? Death? If it becomes life or death, you either succeed or you die, and that's it. And that's how it felt for me. That's why I woke up every day and I worked nonstop and I did what I had to do because I had a big enough reason why. My life was the reason why. I promise you a Lamborghini and a nice watch is not going to be a big enough reason why to maximize your potential. It's just not. I'm not saying those things are bad, but it's not a big enough reason why. So you have to find that reason why within yourself.
It's so nice, like people that don't feel this urgency in their life, they are really in a position of discomfort. Like for example, when I started my agency, I was in the last grade in high school. I had the rent to pay. I had food to pay. I had everything to pay. I was an employee at 3 part-time jobs, so I was working 3 part-time jobs, and I saved enough money just like to live for 3 months and to have food and rent to pay for 3 months. And then I got out of those jobs, and I was like, it's this or it's nothing. Like either it's this, either I'm going back to my parents, and I'll be really, 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 really sad. Like I'll feel guilty. I'll feel like my parents will not be really proud of me because they put the trust in me. I moved alone out of my parents' city. Like I was living in a small town in Romania. I moved to the capital, to Bucharest, and since 16 I always was motivated, and I never saw the things like it's hard, like it's fear and stuff, because I didn't have any options, to be honest.
Exactly. Like you can be, dude, I was terrified. I was really scared, but I had no other option. I was really comfortable, but I had no other option. I wasn't disciplined at all, but I had no other option. So if you can just give yourself no other option, you will just become the person who does it and is capable of it. Or you will find an excuse and you'll give up. But I love it, man. So it sounds like you had a similar story where like there was just no other way, so you had to do it, you know?
Yeah, it's just I tell the people. So I kind of lost my faith in God in this process, but once I got to a certain point and I started like being more aware and self-aware of everything. So this thing in the Bible, like, to be lazy is a sin, right? That kept stuck with me, and every time I sit on my phone or doing stupid shit, not like, it's not about like not being productive, but doing things that I know long term and it's not fulfilling for my life's goal, I just keep thinking about the thing in the Bible, like laziness is a sin and God helps those who help themselves. And no matter like the level and stuff, the where God came from, just this always motivates me in some way.
Bro, you're spitting. I don't know if you guys know that term, but in the US that means you're saying smart stuff. You're spinning. Dude, I love that you just went biblical with it too, because the Bible also says in Proverbs, he dies for his lack of discipline, and because of his great foolishness, he is lost. He dies for his lack of discipline.
Yeah, Bible really says a lot of facts, to be honest, but
it's so wise, bro. It's so wise. Whether you're even a Christian or not, it's full of so much wisdom. It also says the diligence of a man's hand comes back to him. So how much you do with your hands will come back to you. You reap what you sow. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So if you aren't where you want to be in your life, it's because you're not taking the actions every day that have deserved where you want to be.
Yeah.
Like all where you are is a sum of all of the decisions and actions you have made up until this point of your life. Right. That's it. It's a sum of everything you've decided to do every day you've woken up. And if you can start changing those decisions across a long enough time horizon, you will be able to live a way different life, the one that you dream of.
Fact. So, those guys here, most of them are like doing a couple thousand per month, but mostly like just starting. So I know most of them would ask you this question. We'll do it. If you started again from zero, what would be the steps, like the plan you would make to reach 10K per month?
What are the steps that I would do? Okay, I'm going to write this out as well so I can, because I know I talk kind of fast sometimes, so I'll write it out as well. The first thing is I would work for free. I would do free trials. Because that allows me to get my foot in the door, and it gives me more opportunities to get into other people's pockets, as Rareș said. I really like that. So I would do free trials. I would send 100 cold emails per day. I would send 50 Instagram DMs per day. I would send 50 Facebook DMs per day, and I would use Duck Soup or a LinkedIn software to send 100 automated LinkedIn messages per day. I don't know how big LinkedIn is in Europe, but you can also go after US-based people or people in other countries. It doesn't need to just be Europe, in my opinion. I've worked with clients in Australia, Japan, Canada, worked with clients all over that were in different countries. So you can work with clients in other countries. So free trials, send 100 cold emails per day, send 50 IG DMs per day, 50 Facebook DMs per day, 100 automated LinkedIn messages per day. And then I would just focus on mastering sales. If you learn how to effectively communicate with other people, you will never go broke. There will always be a job for you if you know how to influence somebody with your words. If you don't speak very good English, yes, it might be tough to go after US clients. So I would do all this in your country as well. And then cold calls too, right? If you guys can't do Instagram for some reason, or if you can't do LinkedIn, then just replace that with cold calls. The other thing I would do is I would use a software, or I would hire someone on Upwork to download all of the names, emails, and phone numbers of the businesses in my niche.
What niche
And
would
offer free
you
trials.
pick? Like taking the fact you have already experience in one niche, but if you would have started again from zero, what niche would you pick? Like pick niches, like 3 example of niches. Well, what would you go with?
Really good question.
Everybody wants to go high ticket, and yeah, I tell them go high ticket always, but usually high ticket have more complex problems, but still it's mostly like simple solutions. Need traffic,
Sure.
traffic, but go on.
I would. That's a really interesting point. I would just ask though, like, have you closed a high ticket client yet? Because like until you can close a free trial, you're probably not gonna be able to close a high ticket client. Until you can close a low ticket client, you're not gonna be able to close a high ticket client. So like you have to earn the right, in my opinion, to go after those big clients. In the beginning, can you close free trials? Can you close low ticket clients? Then, if you can do those, you know you're on the path to being able to close high ticket clients. But if you've never worked with anybody before and you're trying to charge like $2K a month, it's going to be very hard for you to sell that because it's a more sophisticated buyer. So like I agree you should definitely go high ticket eventually, but in the beginning, just work for free, work for low ticket, like get that momentum. And then you'll be able to charge high ticket because you have experience, case studies, and you're also just more confident in what you're doing. So I would just add that on. But what niche would I pick to answer the question? I would go after the biggest one I possibly can. That's it.
So
That's why we went with real
large markets, right?
large market, 100%.
Some people like use red oceans, like large markets, as an excuse that it's too saturated. But I always tell them when a market is large, then there is money, a lot of money to.
Exactly, bro. That's facts. I love it.
So
I heard
there's so much money, you can go after it.
exactly, dude. I was watching a podcast the other day and this guy said, everybody says if there's already a 9-figure player in the market, that means it's too saturated because they've gotten the whole market. And the guy was like, if there's a bunch of 9-figure motherfuckers in a certain market, I want to go into that market because I have a better chance of becoming a 9-figure motherfucker. So it's like, if there's a market that has a lot of 7-figure agencies, cool. Dude, people said real estate was saturated. Everybody was like, real estate's saturated. There's so many real estate marketing agencies. We started our agency a year and a half ago. And in 90 days, we were at 100K a month. So was it really saturated or were people just wrong? I think they were wrong.
What do you think it helped you scale so quickly to 100K? It was the acquisition, it was the service delivery, it was the outreach strategy. What's all about?
In the beginning, acquisition. So there's 2 pillars to scaling a company to 8 figures. There's 2 pillars. Never stop selling and never stop recruiting. So what DESPRE did, which is our agency, we never stopped selling and we never stopped recruiting. And all we did all day, if you can kind of catch the theme, like I know I'm being redundant here, but like this is the most important thing. We just always were selling and we always were recruiting. So we spent as much money on paid ads as we possibly can. That's why we scaled so fast. Paid ads are beautiful. You put in $1, you get 4 back. You put in 10, you get 40 back. You put in 1,000, you get 40,000 back, or 4,000 back, or whatever it is. So we just put all of our money into paid ads.
The acquisition in your agency was made through ads, right?
Mainly ads, yep. For the last one, the first 5 were like cold email and cold DMs.
So you do all of this acquisition channels at the same time?
For DESPRE, we just did paid ads. In fact, guys, we've never done a different acquisition channel. Till this day, we've only done paid ads. That's it.
So, for example, for most of here, they probably don't have the money for ad spend, right?
Sure.
Well, what would you recommend to them if they don't have the money for this?
Yeah. What I put in my message above, there's a reason I left paid ads out of that. I didn't have the money in the beginning either. So I would just do the cold emails. I would do the cold Instagram messages, cold Facebook messages. I would do cold calls. I would just do all the manual free outreaches. And then once I get paying clients, I'm just putting it right back into paid ads. Like I'm just reinvesting as much of it in paid ads as I can. And my guess is it's such a blue ocean where you guys are, like Romania, trying to remember some of the other countries people said, Moldova, I think it was, just Europe in general. It's probably such a blue ocean that once you guys start running paid, like I know people in the UK that run ads for realtors and they get appointments for like $10 a pop. It costs us $100 to get an appointment through paid ads. So like once you guys get a paying client, just put it into paid ads, reinvest it into paid ads.
So how much do you charge the moment for with your agency, like per client?
So we do $8,000 for 6 months is our most common program, and they usually pay in full.
Awesome. So you take everything in full, and you take some kind of like results-based commission?
No,
Why?
I've never done that. Because people will only, the only reason people resort to results-based or commission-based is because they can't build trust with the person they're talking to. So they resort to pay me per lead, pay me per close, pay me per appointment. The only reason you need to do that is because the client doesn't trust you on the Zoom call. So we, in the beginning, dude, my first 5 agencies, we didn't even have an offer. Like we didn't have a guarantee. There was no 100 members guaranteed for gyms. There was no 10 clients guaranteed for real estate. It was just our price is $1,200 per month for 6 months. And they're like, okay, because we built trust. We had a very specific sales process that made the person trust us, and we didn't have to really do pay per show. They didn't need that from us.
Can you give us like some short overview over the sales process, like some advice from that sales process?
Yeah, for sure. Basically, the overview is we ask a lot of good questions. So the quick rundown is as soon as somebody hops on the Zoom with you guys, you want to take frame of the conversation immediately. If you sit there and you're like, hey, Rareș, nice to meet you. And they're like, hey, nice to meet you. And then there's kind of like that awkward silence. And then they say, so what are you selling? Or so how does it work? If they take frame of the conversation and now you're responding to them, they've taken control. And they're not going to buy from somebody who they boss around on the call. You got to be the authority. You got to have that just presence of like, this is my call and I'm running it and I have frame of the conversation. That's really, really important. I'll be like, hey, Rareș, it's nice to meet you. How are you, man? They'll say, good. How are you? I'll say, great. So, man, this meeting will take about 30 minutes. First, I have a couple of questions to ask. This helps me diagnose your situation a bit and actually see if we're a good fit to work together. If I do think I can help, dude, I'll go ahead and explain what we do, how it works, how much it costs, all that fun stuff. And then if it doesn't seem to make sense, I'll just refer you to somebody who might be a better fit for you. Is that cool? Is that cool? That's good. Sweet. Well, let's get into it, man. And I try to bring some energy because I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, but Jordan Belfort says there are 3 keys to being an effective salesperson: sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and expert in your field. Nobody is going to want to buy from the low energy, hey man, how's it going? I'm just going to be real with you guys. If that's you right now, hey, I'm not naturally the most energetic person either, but you got to pull it out of you. You got to bring some enthusiasm. You got to bring some sort of influence. The buyers need to hear that in order to feel trust and buy from you. So enthusiastic as hell, sharp as a tack, expert in your industry, right? So let's get to these questions. Let's dive in, man. So first thing, Rareș, what motivated you to take the time to meet with me today? That's the first question I ask. And the reason is I'm getting them to tell me why, and I'm getting them to justify to themselves what motivated them to actually hop on a call with me today and spend their precious time, their most valuable resource, speaking to me.
Reverse
and
psychology, right?
No smart business owner is going to be like, oh, I'm here wasting my time. They're going to want to give an answer that makes them justify why they spent the time talking to you. So what motivated you to take the time to meet with me today? Listen very, very carefully, because this is going to be their deep-rooted reason that they need your services. Oh, I'm not where I want to be. I got a slow, myself included, when I was first doing these, we would just go from like question to question to question. It was like we're interviewing them, It's like when you go on a date with a girl and you just don't know what to say. So you're just like, hey, what's your favorite color? Where are you from? Who's your best friend? And you just ask her a bunch of questions. And she's like, damn, bro, are you interviewing me? Like, am I getting a job? Like, what's good? That's not how you want to be with your clients on the consultation call, right? You actually want to listen and show that you've heard what they said. So if Rareș says to me, actually, dude, we could role play it if you're cool with it, Rareș. Just like a couple questions. So, dude, what motivated you to take the time to meet with me today?
So you see, man, we've been trying to get clients easily. Like, to say an owner wouldn't respond like that, but we think about growing your company, but we didn't have so much clarity. And I saw that you know your stuff. You seem really sure on what you say on the call. So I was trying to give it a shot. I have nothing to lose.
So you're trying to scale your company, but you lack clarity?
Yes, it's been kind of hard because we do not have clear vision on how we can make the acquisition process more easy. It's hard to get more new clients to our business nowadays. It's expensive.
So it sounds like you want to scale, but you're just having some problems with acquisition specifically.
Yeah, we've been trying ads, we've been trying everything, but didn't really work how we planned.
It didn't work how you planned?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll leave it there for the sake of, not making you role play with me this whole time. But See how much deeper we went than just what motivated you to take the time to meet with me today? Oh, we lack clarity on our business. No, it's way deeper than that, right? He said, oh, well, our acquisition is struggling, right? He said, we've tried ads and they didn't work how we wanted. And that's why I mirrored him. There's a tactic in sales called a mirror, where you basically just repeat what the person says to you. So if Rareș is like, well, I don't know why I wanted to meet with you today, I would just say, you don't know. Instead of asking him a question, I would just repeat what he said to me. You don't know. And that shows that I've literally heard them and I've understood them, because I just said back to them what they said to me. So subconsciously, they're like, this person understands me because they're actually listening. They just said exactly what I just said. So a mirror is a really powerful tactic where you basically take 3 words of what somebody says to you and you just say it back to them. Try this with your family. Try this with your friends. Try this with your girls, but just be careful and no promises what will happen. Try this with your clients. Try this with anybody and everybody you know. Repeat 3 words of what they just said to you, and they'll go way deeper into what they were really trying to say. Most people just say things to sound smart, but they don't actually dive deep into the root of what they want to express. So we asked multiple follow-up questions to Rareș on, hey, what actually motivated you to take the time to meet with me today? I now know he wants to scale. He lacks clarity. He's tried paid ads. He's having acquisition problems. It didn't work how he wanted it to work. So I would ask him, well, how did you want it to work? Okay, why didn't you think it did? Why didn't it work the way you wanted? And I would just dive super deep into that. So going really deep into the client, like, it's simple, but that is the biggest tip I can give on these calls. Show them that you actually have listened. Show them that you actually give a damn about solving their problems. And then just ask them a lot of powerful and positive questions and get really, really deep. So then after that, we'll ask, what's your ultimate objective? Like, Rareș, what do you want to achieve, man? Like, what is it you want to get to? I want to get them thinking really, really big. Dude, I want to get to 500K a month. I want to have 5 locations for my med spa. I want to have 10 team members. I want to get them thinking really, really big, because I'm going to leverage this where they want to be as a reason for them to be upset with where they currently are. So if like, man, I want to be at 50K a month on that 5K a month. Well, clearly there's a gap here, right, man? We got to do something, don't we? And so if you can make that gap really clear, they're going to be more, they're going to desire taking action more, because they see where they want to be is not where they are. So I won't go through this whole thing because it would take a long time, but just this alone sets a great first impression. Just this start alone will help you have a more successful sales call, because of 7 seconds to make a first impression. So if you guys can just nail this beginning, it's really, really powerful. Of 7 seconds to make a first impression. So if you guys can just nail this beginning, it's really, really powerful.
How do you get more straight to the point with the financial information? Like, for example, for my students, I always recommended them like to make some kind of ABC strategy, you know, where they say their goal is C, B, it's like the more realistic what we can achieve in the shortest period, like working with them, and A is where they at in I don't know, what do you use in the sales process to get more info about how much they can invest?
Well, we can get a little bit deep into this, but one of the important questions I ask is, how much monthly revenue would you like to be doing? So how much per month would you like to be making? If they say, oh, I want to be at 30K a month, 20K a month, whatever it is, cool. Then I follow up with that question, how much are you currently doing? And the reason I ask how much would you like to do first is it kind of gets their guard down. So I'm not like, how much money do you make? I'm like, hey man, I'm here to help you grow. How much do you want to be making? And they're like, oh, 20K a month. Cool. How much are you doing now? Just curious. Oh, we're at 5K a month. So getting their actual revenue is a great place to start. As you can tell, if somebody's at 100K a month revenue and they're like, yo, I can't afford your services. It's like, bro, you just told me you're at 100K a month. You can afford my $997. You know, you can afford that. So that's really important. On top of that, dude, if I get to the end of the sales call and the person's like, hey, I just can't afford it. At this point, I've built so much trust with them. I'll straight up ask, like, dude, just curious, like, how much do you have? How much do you have? I've seen closers that straight up like get people to show them their bank accounts, bro. They get them to show their bank accounts and like, let's go through this together. Like there's this one guy, I don't know if anybody knows Cole Gordon, but we've done sales training with Cole, and one of the guys on his team, he's a killer. I'm not gonna say who he is, but he's straight up like told us like he'll get somebody to share their bank account with them, go over what they're spending, look at like, oh dude, you went to Starbucks yesterday, or like you spent $20 on a dinner. Do you really need to do that? Do you think that money could be better spent in your business? If we start spending less on all of these things we're wasting money on, and we start spending more on actually helping you grow and make more money, do you think that will get you where you want to be? And so like, guys, if you can build trust, you don't need to beat around the bush. You can just straight up say, how much money do you have and what do you think you can afford? And it's like, yeah, it's deep, but at the end of the day, you've built a relationship with this person. If Rareș asked me to see my bank account because he was trying to help me with something, I might not show him my bank account, but I'd be like, here's how much I have, dude. What do you think we can do? So that's how I find out how much they can afford, is I asked them their revenue, and then I just straight up asked them, like, how much are you spending per month? What could you direct towards marketing?
So what was your experience like getting just one flat fee for 6 months and trying to charge recurrent?
That's a really good question that I have not thought about until this most recent agency. The first 5 agencies we did all month to month. So we didn't ask for a payment up front. But with realtors, we started doing the paid in full. So they pay the $8,000 for 6 months rather than the $1,500 per month for 6 months. And it's helped us tremendously, guys. Like, we don't need to chase them down when their payment fails. We don't need to have them, get upset the second month when they see the $1,500 go through on their email again. They get that receipt from Stripe and they're like, man, another $1,500. We just collected all up front, and psychologically they're committed now to at least 6 months with us, because they're like, man, I already paid the $8,000, so like I might as well give this a full 6 months. So it makes them very emotionally bought in, and psychologically they're really bought in. Any like agency I would start again, I would definitely do paid in fulls. The other thing it does is it gives you one of the most valuable forms of leverage, which is money. You're getting $8,000 up front instead of $1,200 up front. So when you get $8,000 up front, you can go put all of that back into paid ads, right? Like, you can go put all of that into paid ads and just scale way faster, because you got basically 5 times as much money up front from the same person. So that's why we scaled our ad spend so much, is we were collecting so much more on the front end. We could put it back into the back end and just kind of keep that cycle going, and then investing, reinvesting. What if they are scared to pay such a big amount up front? They're going to be scared to pay you no matter what if they don't trust you. I could ask you for $100. If you don't trust me, you're not going to give me $100. Doesn't really matter if I ask for 10,000. You're still going to be like, no, I'm not going to give you anything. You don't trust me.
How do you the targeting on your leads, like getting to clients that can actually pay you in outreach or in ads?
Dude, really good question. It's valuable stuff. Like, it's not, I'm glad we didn't just do mindset. We went a little bit deeper. How do you gauge how do you get the clients that can actually afford your services? So we straight up ask, like, on our funnel, we'll say, do you have the means to invest in your business right now? And then we also can ask how much. $0 to $500 per month, $500 to $1,000 per month, $1,000 to $2,000 per month. You can give them a range and actually let them choose. The other thing, and Alex Hormozy gave this tip. Some of you may know, but never mind, I won't even go into that. But basically, we got this tip from somebody who makes a lot more money than us, so we listened to it. And he basically said, in your marketing, you don't want to pretend to be like you're for everybody. Like, you don't want to be like calling all real estate agents. He said, real estate agents who make $10,000 per month or more, would you like to make another 3 transactions per month? And so in your marketing and your messaging, if you can just call out the people who you really want to serve that can afford your services and immediately disqualify everybody else, you'll start dealing with a higher quality of person, because you're not being everything to everyone. You're being a very specific thing to a very specific person.
So it's a lot of like targeting from the copy, directly from the copy in the ads.
And then asking questions. Yep.
Awesome. So how do you automate all the service delivery, or how many clients do you serve right now, like with this flat fee you have?
Like 220, 230 maybe.
Okay.
In the main program, at least.
Awesome. So how do you automate the service delivery for such many clients?
The team, man.
You just like copy and paste the strategy for every client, specifically on what they are, the needs and the transactions they have?
Yeah, good question. So we have everything's copy and paste. Right? Like, I don't believe in customizing what already works. Test, find different things. And then we test things all the time, but we don't customize it for each client, because if it works for one person, we're going to waste more money. We're going to waste more money trying to figure out how to make it work again for a different person when we could just copy the strategy. So it's all copy and paste. And then we have a really good team. We have 3 media buyers, and we have 1 media buyer manager. So the 2 media buyers, they do the hands-on work, and then the media buyer manager manages them and manages the systems. And then we have a lot of automations with something called make.com. I don't know if you guys know Make, but it's kind of like Zapier. You can use Zapier too. But we use those two softwares to automate like onboarding forms. We have the clients give us Facebook access before we actually get on a call with them. So we have like a 5-minute video where like, here's how you share your Facebook assets with us. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. So now we don't need to get on a call with them to do that. We've just automated it. So people and systems, those are really the only two ways you can automate things. People, processes. I'll give this quick kind of tip that I've learned the hard way. The right people will create the right processes. So as you scale up, your job is really, how do I get the right people? Because they'll figure out the right systems to create. You don't need to come up with all of it yourself. If your team's really badass, they'll make the systems for you. That's why I only work 4 hours a week. We're still making systems. We're still innovating, but it's the people that are doing it. It's not me anymore.
So the question is, how do you find the right people?
That is the question. We use recruiters. I'm a big fan of recruiters.
Okay, so go through all the hustle of Upwork and other.
Now we've used Indeed.com, we've used Upwork, but we don't use it anymore. But like ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Glassdoor, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of websites you can use, but honestly, I just pay recruiters because we never want to stop selling and we never want to stop recruiting. So we're not going to take the time to recruit everybody ourselves. If I can pay a recruiter $4,000 to find the person for me, and I can go spend all the time that he saved me to go make more than $4,000, it's a worthwhile investment because I've saved my most valuable resource, which is my time.
So how do you find a good recruiter, or how did you find the one you work with?
That's it's gonna be different for everybody. For us, like, we just had a network. My partner is very well connected in the agency game, so he knew a recruiter. There's a company called Fava. If you just look him up, it's a guy named Omir Block. That's who we get our virtual assistants from, our media buyers. That's who we get appointment setters from, assistants. That's who we use. And then
recruiting companies, that's a good one. We usually hire from networking, like you as well. But for sure, this is a good job. But that many clients, we work only with 14 clients. Yeah, it's a lot of head work to do and work because we get a lot of our revenue from the results. So we spend the time. We have also recurring fees, but that's why I asked you, and I was a little surprised. We get a percent from the profit added to their companies, and as well for every new location they open, we get the new location and get a profit from the location. That's how we manage to scale the revenue a lot, just by generating good clients or the highest ticket services our clients offer.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if it's working for you, like, I know people who've made pay-per-close work. I've just found it's way simpler if you can get them on a normal retainer. So it's just like, it's what's worked for us, you know? But hey, if like somebody said, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
This is what people need to understand. It's not just one way. It's not binary. It's like yes or no, or 1, 0 or 1. It's a lot of ways to scale this business like really efficiently. And it's just about, to be honest, what I think the most important thing that beginners need to fix, like when they're starting, is just the acquisition part, getting clients.
Yeah.
Like the service delivery stuff, you can just hire a contractor from Upwork that has good reviews, can have like good case studies, and you pay him a chunk of the deal you take. And most people, like beginners, are scared of hiring. For them, hiring, it's what if it doesn't do a good job? Well, you learn something, so you know what to do the next time. That's the worst part. Yeah, you probably need to hire someone. You'll be stressed, but that's the process. You can't escape like the side effects or of success, to say like this.
I love that, dude. Hiring and managing people was the hardest thing I had to do. I had to say, yeah, it was the hardest. Leadership, it's hard, man. There's no sexy answer for it. It's hard. It just
You fire people, you hire. It's always a cycle of.
But you learn, man.
Firing.
You learn.
Yeah.
You learn just like you learn sales, just like you learn media buying, you learn. And I will say in the beginning, dude, one of the things that I am glad I did is in the third agency or the second agency, I did all the work myself. So I ran all the ads, I managed all the clients, I did all the outreach, I did all the sales calls, I did everything. I was working, like I said, 70 hours a week, nonstop. But I learned how to do everything. So I could teach somebody how to run the ads for me. I could teach somebody how to take the sales calls because I personally had the knowledge. It's going to be really hard to teach somebody how to sell if you yourself don't know how to sell. So if you can get the experience of doing it yourself in the beginning, it does help you build a team as the time goes on, or you're just going to have to hire somebody that knows way more than you, and they're going to be teaching you, and that's fine. Some of our salespeople are so good, they teach me about sales. Like our sales manager, he's writing a book on how to sell. He knows way more than me on sales. So that's fine too. You either have to hire experts or you have to be an expert and teach somebody how to become an expert. So
another question for you, for me, is like, what service do you give to the clients to get them like good results? How do you deliver the service? Or what service do you deliver?
Facebook and Instagram ads with consulting. So one thing that we've done a lot differently at Estate.ai is we've built a hybrid version of an agency. So instead of just doing ads, we also coach our clients on how to become more successful real estate agents. I don't recommend that for beginners. I would not do that until you get to 30 active clients. But eventually, if you can start teaching them how to become better business owners, you can charge way more and you can help them make way more, because the fact is most business owners just don't know what they're doing. So like leads and providing leads, it solves one problem, but it doesn't solve the problem that they don't know how to manage people. They don't know how to retain their clients. You can bring a gym a client, but if they can't keep the client, the gym's going to fire you because they're not keeping any of the money you've made them. That's why Gym Launch, Alex Hormozi's agency, made so much money and did so well. They charged $16,000 for 4 weeks, I think. It was like 16,000 for 16 weeks, I think it was. 16,000 for 16 weeks because they taught the gym owners how to be better gym owners. They didn't just provide leads. So that's what we've been pivoting to at Estate.ai. But again, I don't recommend that.
It's a lot about the client's mindset as well, working with the mindset.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I'm cringing every time people say, it's not that important. Bro, the reason why I'm here and you're here, it's not because we worked 14 hours per day. It's just because we understood some stuff and we took some different decisions, like really different from other people, like the rest of the people. Derek, go on.
Would you recommend to close the client from the first call or the first minimum second call,
I would recommend, personally, what I've done in my experience is I close the client on the first call. Like I'll have an hour long or 90-minute long call with them, and I'll try to close them on that call because I'll build up so much trust with them. It just makes sense. So I like to do it on the first call.
We are so the same. Me too. First call. No need to waste time. Nobody wants to waste time.
I think the biggest reason agency owners fail, and in my opinion at least, is because their expectations differ from what actually is reality. And so they expect, because they saw Iman in Cape Town with 10 models making $1 million a day, they thought that, in 2 years that would be them, or that in 2 months they'd be at a 10K a month SMA. And it's just not the reality. Like, it's just not the reality. To be honest, this game is hard. It takes time. It's not easy. If it were easy, everybody on this call would be making 10K a month, 100K a month. Like, it's not an easy game. So when we expect to get rich quick, we never get rich at all, because that's not the reality. You have to learn so many skills. You have to develop so many things. If you can just multiply your time horizon by 10, if you're giving it a year, give it 10 years. If you're giving it a month, give it 10 months. If you can just multiply it by 10, you'll be way more likely to actually achieve it. So I'm glad to hear that stuck with you, dude, because expectations, man, anybody coming in expecting to get rich in 30 days, they're going to be in for a very rude awakening. And again, I say that as somebody who doesn't have anything to sell you, so I'll tell you how it is straight up. Not that there's anything wrong with selling stuff. I just don't have one. So yeah, man, I hope that helped. I'm glad that's sticking with you.
How do we deal with the parents being against what we are trying to do?
I would use it as motivation. It's good. Like, dude, the more, like, you can either use people's doubt to make you doubt yourself, or you can use it as fuel. And so, like, a lot of people think I need somebody to believe in me that will make me do better. To be honest, I'd rather everybody doubt me, because then I got to prove them wrong. And the man who has a chip on his shoulder is never going to go hungry because he's got a chip right there. So it's okay that they doubt you, bro. Use that as motivation. Use that as fuel. Prove your parents wrong, bro. Prove them wrong. It's one of the best ways to be motivated. Another thing is, like, dude, if you can't convince your parents to take a bet on you, how are you going to convince anybody else? So, like, the flip side is, how can you persuade your parents? I made a presentation for my mom and dad. Here's why I'm doing this. Here's why you should believe me. I made a full presentation. When they saw how serious I was about it, they were like, all right, maybe we don't believe in Matt, but he clearly believes in himself here, because he's made a whole presentation that he's going to do this thing. He's pretty serious about it. So they didn't love what I was doing, but they at least let me try because of how determined I was.
Okay. Thank you, Matt, a lot.
Yeah, Appreciate you.
Dacă ai stat până la final, te felicit și cel mai probabil faci parte din acel procent mic de oameni care au răbdarea și nu au atenția unui peștișor auriu. Așa că te felicit, sper că ți-a plăcut acest videoclip și sper că te-a ajutat acest videoclip și dacă vrei să-ți începi propria agenție și să o scalezi la 10.000 de euro pe lună în timp record, eu și echipa mea te putem ajuta să faci asta, așa că dă click pe primul link din descriere și rezervă un apel gratuit cu unul dintre Student Success Managerii noștri. Nu uita să apeși butonul de like și subscribe și ne vedem în videoclipul următor.